Clock in, clock in. Black Goddess just walked in.
Let go. Bring my bread right now. Bring my money, nigga. Bring my bread right now. Don't even be late. Bring my bread right now. Bring my money, nigga. Bring my bread right now. Why they hate? Ese es culo pa' atrás. Better that's all right now. Right now. Bring my bread right now. Bring my money, nigga. Bring my bread right now.
Team Black Goddess, stand up, man. Yo. Right now, we finna get to this video with Andrew Tate embarrassing Piers Morgan for 10 minutes straight. Now, Piers Morgan, I don't know, for some reason, folks with a lot of cheese be coming at this dude more. Like heavy. Kanye West was just coming at him. But it seems like everybody who come at fool, I don't know. I guess it's because he's one of those people who speaks on what everybody should hear. And he sometimes give good advice from what I be seeing. You feel what I'm saying? I know Kanye and him just went at it, but you know, he also speaks against people who don't say things that's within the box. You feel what I'm saying? So he usually don't see eye to eye. Or is it not him? He probably reading scripts and all behind the scene or whatever. If y'all understand what I'm saying, you feel what I'm saying? He really come at people who have a lot of cheese but go to saying bizarre stuff that people aren't used to hearing. But sometimes we don't know. Like Kanye be saying the weirdest stuff ever. To me, like I be confused as hell. I be like, Kanye, if you don't shut your little rectangle head ass up, but your ass tripping. We do not want to hear it. But it may be going over my head in some instances because Kanye actually does have people who agree with him. You feel me? Now, I don't always like to say off the bat somebody is just completely wrong, but I can say you're a little bit too hot out here, you tripping. But this dude, Andrew Tate, is basically one of those people who is an 8-ball at this moment, if y'all understand what I'm saying. He's an 8-ball at this moment because of, I guess, the advice he's giving out. And from him, he claims he's giving out good advice that's going to help everybody. And from others, he's a danger to society because everything he says is horrible and terrible and it's gonna break down the country if people keep listening to him. I don't know. It's only one way to find out, you feel what I'm saying? Now, I don't know of him too much, but I've seen a couple clips here and there go viral about relationship advice that he was giving, but you know, I don't be tapped in too much. But let's watch this video, man. 10 minutes straight of him embarrassing Piers Morgan.
Should young men, though, all aspire to be like you?
Should young men aspire to work very hard, have no criminal record, become multimillionaires, protect and provide for the women close to them, be sovereign so they can stand up and have their own points of view in face of cancellation, be able to not be mentally intimidated when they go on national TV and there's traps set up for them? Yeah, I believe that confident, strong men who stand up and protect and provide for women.
Hold up, we got to be bald too? Cause I just don't like that part, but everything you would say, hell yeah,
are a good thing for the world and a good force for the world. And I don't think that I put a magic spell on anybody. I think there's a whole bunch of men in the world who understands my value. And if men grow up to be like me, you're gonna have a whole bunch of people with no criminal record, dedicated athletes.
Is that him being a real deal boxer?
Who protect and
hold on, he was a professional boxer? I didn't know that.
Provide for the people close to them, are fantastic for the economy. And I'm certainly not the worst influence out here, Piers. You have Little Nas twerking on the devil.
Ain't no way. He tripping.
On music videos, which our children are digesting. You have drill artists singing about stabbing people to death in the middle of a knife crime epidemic. You have rabid psychopaths on whether the right or the left announcing violence on the other side. You have all these insanities in the world. And because I sit here and say, yeah, perhaps. Now you've laid it out and it offended you, I understand.
I didn't say it offended me.
Okay, cool.
I just read you the things.
You read things that you said they could be offensive and some people are offended.
Well, some people definitely were offended.
Absolutely. That's fine.
And honestly, I think some of the things you said were genuinely offensive and misogynist.
Okay, so they offended you.
And
like I said earlier. So they offended you, which is fine. I said they offended you, you interrupted me, and now you're saying they offended you, which is fine. But the point I'm trying to make is this. I'm not the devil. There are certainly worse people than me, and
I don't disagree
and they exist.
With
that. And I'm saying that my core tenets for the people who don't understand me are self-accountability, so I'm accountable for everything I've ever said. My core tenets are responsibility, so I'm responsible for everything I've said. My core tenets are traditional masculinity to a degree, which involves protecting and providing for women. And I'll make another point here that needs to be said. The number of women who have stood up and stuck up for me
I say he's making
is
too much
ignored.
sense.
Thousands of women are making videos saying, I've met Andrew Tate, he's such a nice guy. I wish I had a man like Andrew Tate who felt responsible to protect and provide for me. You know what? I do belong to my husband, that's why I married him and I love him. We ignore the thousands of women who stood up and stood by me and said everything I said is true. And we're taking a very vocal minority who have taken things I've said and are pretending to be absolutely and utterly devastated by them for some reason.
All right. Time out.
Pierce had to call timeout because he was getting embarrassed on his own show. Now, if you guys have a favorite quote from this entire interview, feel free to comment it down below so other people can hear it. Now let's get back to the video.
But there was also, I think, quite a disturbing piece that BuzzFeed did. And it talked about the negative impact of young, impressionable male minds when they've read or seen some of the more inflammatory things you've said. And they quoted, for example, Sandy, 22, from Washington. My father's gone from a man who minored in women's studies in college, who was kind and in touch with his emotions, treated all people, men and women around him, with kindness, to a man who says that whenever he sees an effeminate male stranger, he gets an overwhelming urge to murder them. He loves podcasts. He listens to a lot of podcasts. I know he's listened to Andrew Tate.
Whoa. Let's stop for a second. Let's be professional here, Piers, because you're a professional, as am I. First, she said, did you say that my father went? She said, my father has gone.
Her father.
That's a full-grown man, firstly. So we're talking about my impact on children. You just talked about a full-grown man. Secondly, I've never talked about murdering effeminate men in anything online ever, in any context ever. So I don't know why they have taken some random person I've never met in the world who's full-grown, an adult, and come to their own conclusions who I've never met and lumped his name in with mine. That is absolutely unfair on every level. I didn't read this BuzzFeed. I didn't read this BuzzFeed article, but after hearing the first point, I know it's trash. That is complete garbage. I'm the reason this man believes what he believes.
I've seen a quote from you, and you can tell me what you feel here about this.
Sure.
You talk about people don't want to see men dressed up in dresses. Transgender.
That's not exactly what I said.
What did you say?
I said the reason I am so popular and I'm so famous is that there's a large contingent of men who don't want to wear makeup, who still want to make money, go to the gym, be strong, drive a fast car, be traditionally masculine, and don't want to be shamed for that, and they don't want to be called toxic for that. That is the reason I'm so massively famous. That is what I said.
What do you think of transgender people?
That's nothing to do with me. I'm not transgender, and I don't understand the issue like they do.
Are you transphobic?
Now we got to give him a round of applause for his profession. It's like he's real deal trying to turn him against that powerful community of transgenders. You feel what I'm saying? Which, you shouldn't have no comment on it. That's not you. You feel what I'm saying? It's like they trying to force a comment out of him so he could explain how he feels about those men. When in all reality, those are them. That's what they want to do. Let them be them. I mean, women. You feel what I'm saying? Like, he's not in no control of that, and it's like he's trying to get him to say something he didn't say. That's kind of messed up, dude.
Do yourself that?
Transphobe? What? Afraid?
Well, it kind of, yeah.
I don't live in fear, my friend. I have no problem.
Do you have a dislike of transgender people?
I don't know any transgender people.
Do you have a dislike of what they stand for, what they are?
No. Why would I?
I don't know.
That's not my issue.
Depression is a...
He's forcing him to say something bad about them. That is crazy. That is nuts. You feel what I'm saying? It's like trying to find a way to make him seem like something he's forcing men to be men and masculine and know their worth. And shit, I'm just learning that just off of 4 minutes of this video. You feel what I'm saying? I don't think it takes an hour-long video for you to see already what he's trying to give in his messages. It don't take that long for me.
The real thing?
I believe that feeling depressed is real. I don't believe depression as a clinical disease is real, no.
Really?
If you feel depressed, I disagree that you cannot affect it and change your life and take control and fix yourself and feel happier. I disagree with that.
Do you think?
I refuse to accept that there are people out there who cannot become happy, contented individuals. I refuse to accept we live in a world where God has created people who, no matter how hard they work and how good their life becomes, can't be happy. I don't accept that. I accept that the universe is a very giving place and that God loves all of us. And if you try your best and you work hard, you can become a better person. And I also will argue with you, and I'll counter the point, that you sitting here on your platform telling people they have clinical depression, there's nothing they can do about it, is far more dangerous.
Okay,
well then, if they have clinical depression...
Why do you misquote me?
No, because you're saying...
You hate being misquoted.
No, you're saying if people...
You misquoted him. Got eye for an eye, my brother.
Have clinical depression.
I never said there's nothing to do about it. They go to a doctor and they get diagnosed and they get help.
Then I would argue the point that if somebody...
Complete opposite of what you just said I said.
I would argue the point that if somebody has depression of any kind, whether it's clinical, whether it exists or not, whether they feel depressed or not, whatever, that taking control of their life, taking personal responsibility and working hard is always going to be the positive, best thing they can possibly do for their life going forward.
How positive
and the people
is
going around them.
it?
So sitting here saying, I don't believe in clinical depression, you don't believe in depression. No, I don't. I believe that people can take control and fight against things. Right. I believe in personal sovereignty.
Right. Fine.
Good. So we agree.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't.
Piers, you're on my side. You're afraid of being cancelled along with me.
And this is that little area where you lose me.
No, I don't lose you.
You are, because when
Piers,
somebody with your following says
the
there is no
thousands
such
of people,
thing.
the thousands of people who have emailed me saying my doctor told me I was clinically depressed and it's a disease that I have got in my brain and I can't be fixed. And I started listening to you and I realized that that's not the case and I can fix my own life and you're the only person who has ever helped me.
Oh, Andrew.
Thousands of people have
Andrew,
emailed me that
if you
exact
think-
email.
If you think you are single-handedly curing people of clinical depression, you are living in cloud cuckoo land.
I am reading the emails of people who I have cured of clinical depression.
We're talking about Alex Jones, right? Who I have a bit of history with. He tried to get me deported from the United States.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. What is your view of Alex Jones?
So basically, what I get out of that argument is Tate feels as if people can heal themselves, you know, from being depressed. And Morgan is saying, no, that's impossible. You have to go see someone to get help. Let me know how y'all feel about that in the comments.
I think that Alex Jones is a sovereign individual who, very much like the rabid left, deserves a chance to speak on his points of view. I think that the truth on issues is usually somewhere in the middle between two extremes. And
So you think Sandy Hook was staged?
I don't know anything about Sandy Hook.
Really? You know he's just been sued by the families for millions and millions.
I have no idea.
You don't know anything about it?
No.
So why would you support someone in public when you know nothing about the most infamous
When
thing
have I
attached to
supported
it?
him in public?
You have supported him in public.
I've been on his podcast.
Yeah, but you said nice things about him.
I say nice things about lots of people.
What do you think of Alex Jones?
I said nice things about you, Piers.
That's fine. so you should. I'm a nice person.
So to sit and say that I've been on a podcast and I say nice things about
But
him
you
means
said
I
you support his right to speak about things like Sandy Hook.
I don't know Sandy Hook. I don't know. And
You know what it was
it was a mass shooting.
of school children.
Okay, but to sit and
And he,
it's actually no. Let's stop for a second. Please don't interrupt me. Here's why I know why you're good at your job. First, you interrupt people a lot, which is good. It's a good skill,
Actually,
and then there you go. Prove me right.
But here's
and
exactly
the timing's good.
Here's exactly what I do. I only interrupt people like you when you either refuse to answer the question or answer a completely different one.
Sure.
And I want to remind you of what the question was.
Fair enough. That's
Or
fair.
when you misquote me back, which you've done repeatedly through the interview, where you say, you see, Piers, you agree with me. And the viewer who's been watching will go, no, he didn't.
Cool, no problem. The other thing you do is you try and set these traps like now. So you're saying
What's the trap you think I'm setting?
You're saying that I agree with every single point of view a man has.
I literally didn't say that.
You're saying, well, you support Alex Jones.
Why would you misquote me?
Because you're saying you support Alex Jones and you said you've been on his podcast and he said this. I don't know
What do you think of Alex Jones?
I don't know everything he said.
What do you
Piers.
think of him?
I think on his podcast he was cordial. I think he was professional on his podcast. I've also done podcasts with rabid leftists and people who openly hate me.
Is it wrong
I do a podcast circuit.
Okay.
So
and
I don't know everything he's ever said.
When somebody like
and I don't know what
Okay.
you're trying to get me here because I did a podcast.
If you let me get a word in edgeways, I'll tell you.
It's a lame trick. I've done the guy's podcast. I know him well. He was professional and courteous to me. When I meet somebody and they show me respect, I show them back respect. That's what I do, as I did with you.
You respect him?
If somebody shows me respect, I show them respect back.
So if Adolf Hitler showed you respect, you'd respect him back.
That's a stupid question, Piers.
It's not. It's a logical extension of your argument.
No, if in 1931 I was walking through Germany and a man come up to me and said, sorry for bumping into you, I'd say, sorry, no problem, mate. I'd show respect back.
What if-
I don't know, what are you trying to say? That I sanction the Holocaust?
You literally just said if somebody respects you, you respect them back
I say if somebody
automatically.
shows me respect, I show respect back. That's a good way to go through life.
Whoever it is.
If somebody shows me respect and is courteous to me, I'm courteous back. Yeah.
can just
It's a
become a
lame
huge-
trick, Piers, and you're better than this.
Not
So
a
let's
lame
move
trick.
on.
Would you,
It's
if Vladimir
lame. It's lame, and let's move
Putin
on.
had a podcast, would you go on it?
Sure.
You would. Great. Okay, let me know what you're talking about.
If Vladimir Putin had a podcast,
fine,
I'd go on
that's
it.
fine.
If Joe Biden had a podcast, I'd go on it. If a feminist has a podcast, I'll go on it. If Piers Morgan has a podcast, I'll go on it. If Alex Jones, I don't see the point you're making. There's no point here. You're digging, but there's nothing to find.
Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
I think there's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
I can't.
You know why I'm asking it?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
for
say.
the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
Because you are encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
Well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty anti-25-year-old woman.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny then, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Well, being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive at a certain age and saying the age
You're
is
saying
different.
18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25
Well, then ageist perhaps, but misogynistic absolutely
Is that
not.
what but you just accepted it was misogyny?
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
So you don't think if you're
He
saying
tried to
slightly
finesse.
hateful things about a 25-year-old...
That's not slightly hateful.
Well, it is. You think you say that to a woman's face if she's 25?
It's not slightly hateful. When
So you would go up to a 25-year-old woman and tell her exactly what I've just read out?
Why would I walk up to a random 25-year-old woman?
Because you said it in public
and
on
say
the
that?
internet, and it's been listened to and watched by millions and millions of young,
Correct.
impressionable boys.
Correct. There was a large panel. There was a conversation. There was hours long of conversation. There were feminists attacking men for toxic masculinity and attacking me and saying things. And I said things back which were going to antagonize
But I think,
them. Which you've done yourself a bunch of times.
I think
If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe right here. And
That's
as
it?
always, thanks for watching.
I don't know who this dude is in the middle. He looks weird. But as far as that conversation, man, I can't lie to you and say that I got a clear point out of this. Because I usually say we got the same thing out of this. I don't know what you guys got out of this. We should find out in the comments who got what out of what. But basically, these dudes are two professional arguers. You feel what I'm saying? Like, these people know how to argue so well that they know what to say, what not to say, what not to make themselves. Like, they do this for a living, so it's very hard for them to catch one another. And Morgan is trying his hardest to catch Tate in some BS. And Tate is basically defending himself because Morgan has more scoop because he got this little paper in his hand where he gets to read everything and be like, well, you said this and you said this. And it's like, once you done made so many podcasts, you don't remember everything you say. Heck, I don't remember a lot of stuff I said in a lot of videos. You feel what I'm saying? But the fact that he could come back so strong with these responses is just amazing to me. It's like he's prepared and he probably haven't said anything in life that he don't stand by. So, you know, people respect people who can say something and stand on it more than people who could say something and hide their hand. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why Morgan is basically trying to get him to say something he didn't say, and he's just explaining, no, I didn't say that. I actually said this. And you're labeling me as this when in all reality I'm not this, but I might be a little bit of this. You feel what I'm saying? So this argument really didn't go nowhere. I don't think either of them look bad within this argument. I don't think anybody was really embarrassed. I just feel like this was a neck and neck conversation. You feel what I'm saying? So let me know how y'all feel about it in the comments. I'm about doing that. Clock out. Black got it. Just what that.
Bring my bread right now. Bring my money, nigga. Bring my bread right now.